time to put grandpa up in a home. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years. They have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it. And everyone else knows it too. I can't quite get on board with that suggestion, Mr. President. We're going to check in with Candyland. I don't think we've done any videos or talked about Candace Owens this week. That's like, we almost made it a whole week without checking in on the never-ending source of drama and intrigue that is Candace Owens, podcaster extraordinaire and self-described conspiracy theorist. Well, she's finally gone too far for President Trump, and we're going to get to his statements about her as well. But I will just say that, like, as critical as I am of her, and as much as I think she's, polluted the discourse and spread a lot of baseless stuff, you can't deny that she's entertaining and has a flair for the dramatic. So there's always going to be some tea to catch up with Miss Candy. And this week, it is her feuding openly with President Trump. And the big deal there is that she's, like, quite famously a Trump supporter, and Trump loved her and praised her for years, but alas, no more. So here's the Mediaite headline, quote, "Time to put grandpa up in a home. Candace Owens fires back after Trump's bonkers post attacking her and other MAGA critics." Wow, quite the quote there from Candace Owens. I mean, she doesn't hold back. And here's the article. Controversial MAGA podcaster Candace Owens hit back at President Donald Trump after his Thursday Truth Social post attacking her and other MAGA figures who have criticized him. Owens, once a close ally of Trump, has long caused controversy over her wild conspiracy theories, from claiming Israel was behind 9/11 to doubling down so hard on her theory that the First Lady of France was actually a man. She was hit with a lawsuit directly from French President Emmanuel Macron. Owens claimed that Macron personally asked Trump to stop her from continuing her attacks on his wife. The podcaster has triggered outrage in conservative circles over her consistent attacks on Erica Kirk and her recent call for U.S. troops to quit the military after Trump launched his war on Iran. She wrote on X in March, "Do not join or remain in the United States military. Trump has betrayed America and expects you to die for Israel. There is no honor in being led by dishonorable men to your death." So I have it doesn't surprise me that Trump has now clapped back at her and formally condemned her in a post that we will get to and we'll look at. And I think that's kind of the, like, natural consequence of what she's said and done here, right? Because she didn't hold back on him. He's notoriously thin-skinned, and you say, like, he's betrayed America and all this stuff. Whether you agree with her or not, obviously that's going to piss off Trump and make him angry, and he's gonna snap back at you over that. He's not going to be okay with people saying that about him. He's very thin-skinned at times, but it's just interesting that essentially, like, because it wasn't just him, right? And it wasn't just her. We'll get to these other people as well. But it's like, this is what broke the straw that broke the camel's back for him. Is just like, he really doesn't care about anything except whether you support and praise him. Like, anything else that she was spreading these insane lies about Erica Kirk. She was doing all this, like, wild conspiracy theorizing and crazy stuff, and he doesn't care about any of it. But once she starts criticizing him or disagreeing with him on the war in Iran, that's too far. And he had to go nuclear on her, which is what he did. Here's Trump's post as quoted in this article. "I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terror, to have a nuclear weapon, because they have one thing in common: low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it. And everyone else knows it too." um, I'm not so sure that their families would say that they're stupid. I can't quite get on board with that suggestion, Mr. President. And what I'll say is, I think that's a caricature of their view. I don't think they're fine with Iran having a nuclear weapon. I think they disagree about the extent to which that was an imminent threat at all. And in fact, the administration itself has told us just about a year ago that they totally destroyed their nuclear program, and then also now is claiming they had to invade and destroyed Iran again because they were on the edge of having a nuclear weapon. It's like, that's not really believable, and it doesn't make somebody stupid to not believe necessarily your narrative around that. But what I do find interesting is that he campaigned with these people in 2024. At least I know Tucker and Megan, and now he's saying they're stupid and everyone knows it. So it's like, same with Alex Jones being on this list. Alex Jones lying about Sandy Hook and suggesting this mass shooting was like fake and losing that huge lawsuit, that wasn't an issue for Trump. He was still praising Alex and everything. But then it's like, but then he doesn't support with a war with Iran, or he starts criticizing me, and that's a problem. I would humbly suggest that the president has his priorities out of whack there, and that is not ultimately what should matter. Like, you should have been more bothered by Candace Owens lying and defaming Charlie Kirk's widow than her disagreeing with you on the war with Iran. And it's like a very hubristic and arrogant person who will tolerate anything from their allies, praise them to the high heavens, even when they have these massive professional and intellectual scandals, as long as they say nice things about them. But then the second they say something not nice about them or criticize them or break with them, these are the worst people in the world. It's like, well, you loved them and you praised Alex Jones and all these people so vociferously for years. Were you praising stupid people then, or are you lying that they're stupid now? Or did you only realize that they're stupid once they suddenly started criticizing you? It's like, you see how this is just like not very credible. And this is far from me to defend the honor of any of these people. I've been critical of every single one of these people over the years, just many times, especially Candace Owens and also Tucker Carlson. But I do have to say, there's one thing where I must defend Candace Owens from this allegation against Donald Trump. I've never said those words before. I must defend Candace Owens, but here we are. 2026 is crazy and is 2026ing. Here's anyway, more from the media article, then I'll explain what I must defend Candy for. Trump gave special attention to Owens in part of the post, calling out her attacks on Brigitte Macron and claiming he hoped the First Lady would win lots of money in her suit against Owens. Or Megyn Kelly, who nastily asked me the now famous only Rosie O'Donnell question, or crazy Candace Owens, who accused the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man when she is not, and will hopefully win lots of money in the ongoing lawsuit, he wrote. Actually, to me, the First Lady of France is a far more beautiful woman than Candace. In fact, it's not even close. Owens responded to Trump's attack by posting a screenshot of his Truth Social post with several portions highlighted and one cutting comment. It may be time to put Grandpa up in a home, she wrote. So I'm so sorry. I'm actually not sorry at all. I'm just going to say what I think. How funny would it be? I'm just going to say it's funny. I'm not saying it's true or that I believe it. If Brigitte Macron did turn out to be a man and Trump had said that she's more beautiful a woman than Candace, now I don't believe that she is. I haven't seen evidence that she is, and I'm not going to believe the conspiracies, and I don't trust Candace. I will say, of all the conspiracy theories that Candace peddles, it's not the least believable of all of them to me. That's all I'll say. I don't believe the evidence. I think like the facial recognition, AI software, it's just stuff she used in her documentary was very suspect and weak. However, so I'm not endorsing it or saying the theory is proven or true at all, but I'm saying it would be hilarious if it turned out to be true and Trump had said how hot he finds her. And listen, all jokes aside, even, yes, assuming the First Lady of France is in fact a woman, and obviously Candace Owens is a woman, the idea that Brigitte Macron is far more beautiful than Candace, even as a Candace hater, I have to say that's objectively not true. I'm not saying Brigitte is like an ugly or hideous person, but whatever you think of Candace, she is stunning. Like, she's a gorgeous woman, and she's very well put together and very attractive and stylish. I I just don't think that that's the line of attack to go with Candace Owens, is that she's not beautiful. You don't have to like someone or agree with their politics or the things they're saying or think they're a credible political commentator or like serious investigative journalist. I don't think any of those things about Candace Owens, but I'm also not going to like pretend that my eyes don't work and that she's some hideous monstrosity and that Brigitte Macron is mogging her. That's just like obviously not true. And it diminishes the credibility of your criticisms of this person. But I kind of again come back to the fact that like it really shouldn't have been this that turned you against any of these people if your priorities were in order. The fact that you only now are against them because they're disagreeing with you on the war with Iran and criticizing you and like the crazy lies and conspiracies and insane Sandy Hook stuff with Alex Jones, all of that was fine for you. Actually, no. Like that would be a much better reason to disavow these people than the fact that they publicly oppose your war with Iran. Because frankly, on that, they're like, I mean, you could argue they're wrong, you could disagree with them, but they're channeling a widespread view among the American public that is not convinced and not supportive of what this administration has done with Iran. And yeah, they've said a couple edgy or out there things about it, but I don't know. Like, I believe that when somebody cuts against the grain in a way that is not immediately advantageous, given the brand they've built up, I don't know. It's not that I suddenly believe they're credible and amazing. Like I do roll my eyes at like CNN touting Alex Jones now. It's like, come on, you guys, you don't think Alex Jones is credible and you never have, and you were right the first time. But suddenly now that he's saying something you like uplift him as a voice of reason. I do find that hypocritical. But I will say that like audience capture and pandering are so pervasive that people are only there's so many people in this space that are just consistently dedicated to telling their audience only what it wants to hear. And in the case of many of these commentators who built up a pro-Trump following, the you would think the incentives would have been better for them to support the war or to explain why they like it or to back President Trump, especially somebody like Megyn Kelly who has a lot of like Trump voters that watch her and view her. I guess with Tucker and Candace, they've built up these kind of eccentric, iconoclastic audiences that maybe want them to be against this kind of thing. But I don't know. I don't think it's fair to expect any media personality or independent political commentator to blindly support you as a politician. And if you do expect that, which I think it's pretty clear that Trump expects that, then you have no respect for like the idea of media as an independent apparatus at all. And you think these people are just your cheerleaders. And to be fair to Trump, a lot of people really just are in this space and really will just defend wherever he goes. But I'm not going to be upset with people for being unwilling to do that. I actually think they should be unwilling to do that, whether I agree with them on the specific issue or not, or whether the incentives maybe encourage them to do so in kind of increasingly radical or out there ways. I don't know. But I'm not go I respect people for not having blind loyalty to a politician they voted for or that they publicly supported. And it's not easy to admit you were wrong about things, and if some of them are admitting they were wrong, then that's not something I would attack them for. And then also, I think this kind of thing probably is just going to make them more popular, right? Like it is interesting that maybe Trump is like losing the magic touch a little bit because the people he's publicly turning against and bashing, they keep going up in the charts, at least recently. Whereas he's tried to uplift other people like Mark Levin, the Fox News host, and like no, he's published like page long posts about praising this guy, and still nobody's tuning in, right? Like, or not nobody, but no, not nearly the audiences of these people. It's like, so Trump's Midas touch a little bit may be fading in terms of the conservative political commentary world. And I'm not sure that's necessarily a bad thing because again, I think that should be separate from just raw partisan politics. I think it should be independent. That's kind of the whole idea. Now, it hasn't always been that in practice, but also like finally, I would just humbly suggest that if you want to criticize Candace Owens, going after her looks is just not going to do it for most people. That it's not a effective strategy, especially because President Trump is not exactly a paragon of beauty or fitness or the ideal male physique. So maybe sit that one out, President Trump. And you guys will have to let me know what you think of the latest feud and drama between Candace and Trump and Alex Jones and all these people. I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed. If you aren't yet, hit the like button and do consider becoming a channel member to support my work. And that'll be it for this episode of the Brad versus Everyone podcast. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk again real soon.